People of God, people of God. What should I say? Good morning. Early wee morning. 2 a.m. in the morning. You know what I want to say? You know what's on my mind? What I was just sitting here thinking about. When we acknowledge, when we can acknowledge and accept and verbalize our reality, that's what helps us heal. And it also, when we can express that in a unique way, it also helps other folk heal, and it draws like-minded folk to us. You know, there are only some folk who can pretend that they're just far beyond, or how can I say it, so super spiritual, and they're no earthly good, so spiritual that they cannot relate to anyone. You know, their body's still here on earth, but they some way lost and trapped up in the spirit. They stay high in the spirit, so high that they can't relate to nobody, and they can't understand real life situation and circumstances enough to help folk overcome it. Yeah. So many of us, when we can acknowledge our reality and express that, verbalize that in a way, in a unique way, or whatever way we have to. You know, I find humor in a lot of things. I look for humor in a lot of the things that have caused me pain, you know, but I'm still overall a human being. I get angry, I get frustrated, and it don't feel good when you have done good things for folk and folk repay your good with evil. It don't feel good when folk who you've taken your time to help and they despitefully use you. But the Bible said, blessed are you when folk despitefully use you, right? So being a human being, we're spirit, but we're still in this flesh. So you have to find a way to discard that in a healthy way. And when you can acknowledge your pain, acknowledge folk done pissed you off, acknowledge folk done took your good and came back and repaid you with evil, that's what make you a human being. You can relate to folk. See, you can still walk in the spirit, but sometimes it just, some things that folk do to you, it be so mean and so hurtful. You got to process all that. You know, sometimes you just don't get over it right away. Sometimes you got to verbalize it. You got to find ways to get over it in a healthy way, you know, and we're not the only ones. You know, look at Jeremiah. The prophet Jeremiah. Go and read what was that? Jeremiah 18. Go and read Jeremiah, I believe 18, where Jeremiah, when he intervened for the people, he prayed that God turn his wrath on the people. And guess what? Over time, they got tired of that prophet mouth. They dug a pit. They plotted to kill Jeremiah. And Jeremiah got pissed off. He got so mad. He said, God, is this what it is? Should evil be repaid for good? You see how they stand in the gap? I'm paraphrasing. He said, you see how they stand in the gap, and I didn't pray for these people, and this how they gonna repay me? They gonna dig a pit for me? And what he did in his frustration, he turned around and started praying curses down on him. He prayed for God to destroy him. Break the teeth out of the mouth of my enemies. You know, some people's heart ain't gonna never be no good. And we can't change that. Only thing we can do is fight to keep our heart pure. And when you can acknowledge what you're going through, whatever way you got to express that, whatever helps you get over, don't let nobody try to tell you how to overcome your pain. Unless if you're not causing harm and danger to yourself and others, get over your pain. And let me tell you something, you're going to attract a lot of folk to you when you can grow and you can acknowledge and express your reality in a way that helps others overcome, right? People don't want to live in pain, but a lot of people been through a lot of things. You know, I read a comment from a young lady where she commented, I can't remember your name on there. You said, thank you, sis, or I love you, sis, or something like that. You say you help a lot of young ladies who don't even have a mother or something. I'm not exactly your exact comment, but you said that, something to that extent, who don't have a mother. That touched my heart. It touched my heart, and I pray God forever helps me walk in the spirit of humility. I've had older women. Say similar things to me, and it touches my heart. It helps me remain humbled. I don't have any children that I have birthed, but I've taken children off the streets into my home and gotten them in the right programs, and they went off and did excellent things. God uses whom he may choose, and God doesn't call those who go and deem themselves qualified. He qualifies those he calls, and oftentimes it's through pain that pushes God's people, pushes many of us into our purpose. And sometimes we don't realize it until he sends other folk to tell us or to confirm things in us, right? God has his way of keeping his people humble as well. That's why sometimes folk love to call you. You can be around folk and you can speak a word and it'll help so many people. But then there's time when you didn't pour out, you need somebody to pour back into you. And there's somebody else that's holding your word. And there's a sister, a brother that comes along, or you just cling with because that's your person. That's your person that helps sustain you. And sometimes it can be the same people reciprocating to one another, or sometimes it can be a complete stranger that comes along and just pours back into you all and fills you back up with just merely words. Words are spirit, baby. And you can't entertain folk who use their words in a way to try to break your spirit. And we ain't living in a time now where you really got to entertain folk who's not like-minded. And don't let nobody make you feel bad for doing things that help you sustain the peace that God has given you in your life. Know that we have an adversary. He has children just as well as our Father has children. We have brothers and sisters, right? That's where that agape love can come from, when we can connect with our brothers and sisters, right? But the enemy has a whole nother thing going on too. There's a spirit of truth working in this earth, and there's a spirit of error, right? And when two people don't agree from the spirit, how can you live in harmony together? You can force yourselves to, you can set up a system, but I don't choose to be one of them people. I'm going to keep it real. When you connect with somebody in the spirit, you'll know it. I've connected with many of my brothers and sisters, younger and older. And I know that they are my people by the spirit. Does that mean that as we draw closer and closer to one another, we may have different things that we don't agree with, but when the spirits agree, when the spirits don't agree, that's a whole nother thing. When the spirits don't agree, there are dark forces, there are dark entities that attach themselves to the souls of people. Some people have opened the door for themselves to directly be used by these entities. And we don't have to entertain such things like that, right? I'm not going to go into too many details on that. But anyway, people of God, when we can acknowledge and express our reality, that opens the door for healing in a healthy way. And we help others, David himself have gone through many hard times. Matter of fact, let me look up something here. In Psalms, in the book of Psalms, right? People have gone through things, and just because they express themselves in a way that some folk don't agree with, or they deal with their frustrations or the things that have hurt them, the things, that nasty, vile things that folk have done, just because they express those things in a way that some folk don't agree with, that doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't make it wrong. In the book of Psalm 35:12, what David said, they repay me evil for good to the bereavement of my soul. In Psalm 38:20, he said, And those who repay evil for good, they oppose me because I follow what is good. Psalm 109:5. Thus they have repaid me evil for good and hatred for my love. There are some wicked, vile folks out here. And we have to navigate around them and sometimes through them because they come into your lives with hidden agendas. And then they leave after they got what they want, being disrespectful. And sometimes they've been watching you from afar the whole time. With the OJs, right? They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your play, them backstabbers. Some of them will try to destroy your life just to go and pretend that they are you. Obsession. There are so many different things that folk go through. And people have no idea. And I've heard folks say, I don't look like what I've been through. They don't know. They don't know your story. Everybody not going to understand some of the things that you say or that you do. But as long as you understand you, as long as what you're doing is helping you heal and others heal, you don't owe anybody. We don't owe anybody an explanation, right? We have to work to stay in love and be forgiving. Yeah. We have to forgive those who trespass against us, even if they do it in the most vile, nastiest, and disrespectful way, right? But they're only bringing curses upon themselves. In the book of Proverbs, it says, when a man repays evil for good, evil shall never depart from his house. People curse themselves, right? So at the end of the day, those of us who carry the light, who help God's people heal because we are willing to acknowledge our reality and also heal, we must just continue to stand strong, continue to allow God to do his work on the inside of us, and continue just to go forward in love. And forget them folks who don't understand, who use their mouths against God's people out of ignorance, all because they don't understand you. And there are some folk that will cleverly, because they want to get inside your head, they, rather than coming at you directly, they will cleverly and strategically try to find a way to snatch your attention and make you focus on them. Cut them kind off. You don't need that. You don't need folk who will try to suck from your energy and draw your energy from you. That's witchcraft. Yeah, that's witchcraft. So anyway, people of God, continue to heal. Continue to connect with your brothers and sisters, like-minded folk. Connect with your people. You will know them by the spirit that they carry. And when you come across folk that your spirit don't agree with, don't try to force it. Keep on moving. Let the spirit show you. Whatever the spirit is revealing to you, trust the spirit. It ain't gonna never lie. It's gonna always tell you the truth. That's one thing, can't never lie. A person's energy will never lie. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Yeah, when we can recognize, acknowledge, verbalize our reality, that opens the door for healing, and we also help others heal. Have a blessed day, people of God. I love you. When you going through things and people frustrating you and doing you wrong, you ain't the only one. There are some folk who just out of touch with reality. They so spiritual that they ain't no earthly good. They can't relate to folk like you and I, folk who done been through some things and understand how to express what we've been through in a way that helps us find humor in the situation and just overcome it. But pain is very real, and there are some people who don't give a darn about burning bridges and who they, step over just to try to get to the top. A lot of people burn bridges with good folk, and become very disrespectful. And it don't feel good when folk repay your good with evil. It don't feel good at all. But you do what you got to do to keep your heart and your mind in a healthy place. Try to stay in love. Try to stay in love. Whatever you got to do to overcome it. Keep going and keep shining your light. I love you.